today one of my favorite topics, which is the ability to create, your upcoming year. Welcome Colton, welcome Claudia, welcome Gina, welcome Jenna, Joda, welcome Karen, welcome Lori, Linda, Michael, and Nancy, welcome Randall, welcome to all of you guys. Welcome everybody that's just logging in. We're gonna get started here in just a second. We're connecting right now our Zoom webinar technology through to our Facebook live. So those of you guys that are logging in from Facebook, welcome, glad that you guys are on. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Please, in the comments section, let us know who you are and where you're logging in from. We would love to know. And for those of you guys that are on Zoom, just go ahead and pop it in the comments in the little comment section there, the chat, the chat box. Let us know where you're logging in from. Welcome, Karen. Welcome, Mealy. Welcome, Richie. Welcome. Fort Pierce, Florida. We got Fresno. We got Wisconsin. We've got SoCal. We've got Pennsylvania. We've got Mexico in the house. What's up, Mexico? We got Ontario. We got Vancouver, British Columbia. Celeste, welcome. Omaha, Nebraska, welcome. These are just some of the people on the Zoom, and we've got a ton of people on the Facebook Live. I see that's growing right now, running up to about 50 on the Facebook Live, and nearing 50 and growing here on the Zoom. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us. As this goes on, if you're logging on to watch the replay, just go ahead and put your name and put replay. So that way we know kind of who's on there live and who's on there for the replay. Throughout the webinar, if you wanna put questions specifically into the Facebook comments, please do so, because I'll be able to go afterwards, read the comments, and be able to reply to the comments. And then lastly, if there is like a really big aha moment or key nugget that you have, just write in the comments like, wow, key takeaway, and write in there, because it helps me to understand what is it that drives you from a learning perspective. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me give you guys a quick backstory. My name is Nick Sarnicola. I'm originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Just a super blue collar, middle class upbringing. And I didn't come from success or results or business or entrepreneurship. I came from just that blue collar family. And at 18, I was introduced to entrepreneurship, and my world changed, just total, 180. And I fell in love with the idea that you could be financially free and have time freedom if you pursued entrepreneurship. So that's what I did. And I aggressively pursued the concept and the topic of entrepreneurship. And I was a massive failure early on. But eventually, as you learn and you take action, you learn, fail, learn. It started to work. I made my first million by the age of 25, created a company. A couple years later, launched something called the Body by Buy 90-day challenge, revolutionized the concept of challenge marketing, was able to do a couple $1 billion in sales into 17 countries. Started a foundation to teach youth entrepreneurship, put $1 million personally into that to be able to educate people on the topic of, students on the topic of entrepreneurship, because I knew there had to be kids out there like me. So I think overall, I'm now 40. I've been doing entrepreneurship for 22 years. I think the number one thing I want to share with you is you have a credible source to be able to share with you guys the information that I'm sharing with you guys today. And to me, it all starts with this word right here in the middle, which is purpose. This was a diagram that literally changed my life. I saw this, I think, online, and then my executive planner sent it over to me, framed it, and that's now on my wall. But it says, okay, the combination or the intersection of what you love and what the world needs is you operating inside your mission. And if you can operate inside of what the world needs and what you can be paid for, that's vocation. What you can be paid for and what you're good at, that's profession. What you're good at and what you love, that's passion. And if you can operate inside of passion, mission, profession, and vocation, that's purpose. And my purpose is to educate, develop, contribute to, and also entertain millions of people through the forms of entrepreneurship, mentorship, speaking, and writing. So why am I doing this today? Do I gain something out of it? No. Do I earn anything for it? No. But it is right dead center in the middle of my purpose to be able to share things that I've learned and to be able to pay it forward in the form of today through speaking, right? So, and mentorship today. So that's why I'm doing it. One of my personal success formulas is mindset plus skill set times leadership equals your success. Now, mindset is everything between the ears. This is, your attitude. This is your work ethic, your desire, your passion, your commitment, your urgency. It is all these intangible things. It's your emotional intelligence. It's all these intangible things that people can't weigh or measure. Only you, your stickability, your consistency, your persistency. These are all things, your hunger, your drive. These are all things that I would consider to be mindset between here that you have full control over. Now, mindset's not enough, right? You also need skill set. Jim Rohn once said, if you take somebody who's hungry, driven, and motivated, but they have no skills, all you have then is a motivated idiot. So if you take an idiot, you motivate them, you have a motivated idiot. So not only do you need mindset, but you also need skill set. Skill set is what to do, how to do it, what to say, how to say it. It's knowing a process, a system, the scripts, you get the idea. And then times leadership, which is a whole nother thing in itself. Today's conversation is to talk about a piece of mindset. And it's purposely done right now and at this particular time of the year. I want to share this with you guys because of its connection to how most people approach the year. So let me pull the slides back up here. Most people approach the year with, hey, I want to refresh. I want to create a brand new year. So I want to help you guys create a brand new year and help you guys create a 2020. These are my 6 biggest topics that I speak on. These are my primary philosophies and practices that helped me become a Deca-Millionaire by the time I was in my early 30s. Art of Desire, the Science of the Brain, Mastering Sales and Marketing, Understanding Leadership, Philosophy of Time, and Executing Your Growth Plan. We're going to talk about this right here is days and days and days. Like if I was speaking for 4 straight days, we might cover all this. Might. The first bullet point, Art of Desire, it's the most important one, in my opinion, for my personal success. And I could probably go a day and a half just on number 1 alone. So I want to give you guys just some context. Today, I'm going to talk to you here for who knows how long, 45 minutes, whatever. And we're going to be taking like the most significant, drastic reduction of the Art of Desires that I can give you. Because Art of Desire is a day and a half of me sharing with you, and I'm going to do it in 45 minutes. It's literally this much. So I'm giving you guys the tip of the iceberg. So as you guys know, today we're talking about creating 2020. It's about goals and anything that has to do with that particular topic. I want to start by telling you this. There is a major difference, a significant difference, a massive difference from being goal-oriented and goal mastery. So there's some people that just have no goals at all, or they don't go through the process of goal setting. There's some people that are goal-oriented. There's some people that have goal mastery. And I would share with you guys that personally, I'm just goal obsessed, right? I have goal obsession. So my goal is to help you, if you have no goals, to move into goal-oriented. And if you're goal-oriented, my goal is to, no pun intended, to move you into goal mastery, not necessarily through this specific conversation, but maybe the course of time. So I want to start the conversation of, goal setting, et cetera, by looking at the topic or the conversation around sports. Okay. Let's talk about sports, for example. Now, when you approach any sports, let's look at basketball. That gentleman on the far left, that was LeBron James. LeBron James makes, I don't know, $35 million or so a year, not counting all the money he makes through all his other businesses and his endorsements, et cetera. He makes about $35 million a year to do what? To take a stupid little leather ball and to throw it through or inside of a what? Now, most people are going to say a hoop because that is more of the slang. But if you go back and you look at the actual rules and creation of basketball, it's called a goal, right? That's why they call it, their field goal percentage, How well do they shoot? Field goal. So if you remove the idea of that hoop, you remove the goal, and you just have LeBron James and everybody else out there, and they're getting paid tens of millions of dollars, and you remove the goal, would any of you watch the sport? What do you have when there's no goal to shoot at? You have a bunch of guys or gals running around, chasing each other aimlessly. What would the point be? There wouldn't be a point. None of you would pay for it, and they would make no money. Let's look at soccer. There's a crazy one. There's a global sport, right? Soccer. Cristiano Ronaldo makes some insane amount of money. I don't even know what it is. Probably some of you guys do. 60, 70, $80 million a year. To do what? To kick a stupid little ball into the what? Goal, right? 70, $80 million, kick a stupid little ball into the goal. And the person preventing him from doing that is called the goalkeeper, AKA a hater, right? Somebody that's trying to block you from your goals, a dream stealer. As a goalkeeper, right? He's trying to stop that person from scoring goals. What would you have if you completely removed the goal? You'd have a bunch of guys or gals running around doing nothing. What would the point be? There wouldn't be one. How much would they make? They wouldn't make anything. How much would you pay to go see it? You wouldn't. How about hockey? Same thing. Hit the puck into the goal. You got a goaltender, also known as one of those haters, dream stealers, trying to block you from your goals. They make a bunch of money. What would you have if you removed the goal? You'd have a bunch of guys or gals skating around doing nothing. Wait, that's figure skating. Okay, I'm just kidding. So, just kidding. So, what would the point be of a bunch of guys skating around doing nothing? There wouldn't be a point. You wouldn't pay to go see it, and they would not make millions of dollars. And lastly, and actually, I'm going to show you what is the value. What is the value of professionals, like professionals, leagues, teams who are trying to shoot goals? That's it. They're just trying to shoot goals, score goals, nothing else. The value of pros shooting at goals, NHL teams are worth $20+ billion. NBA teams are worth $57+ billion. The Premier League is worth $35+ billion. Now, what about this? What if you wanted to cross a goal line? What if you want to take that stupid little ball and cross the goal line? What's that worth? $91 billion for the NFL, for football. This is what we pay. This is what these teams are worth. This is what we pay to watch professionals go after goals. What would the point be if you remove the goal? There wouldn't be a point. Have you made a connection back to your life yet? If you don't have goals to shoot at, what's the point? And what would you have? A bunch of people running around aimlessly. But the value, once you put goals in place, is unimaginable. The value of somebody's opportunity, their dream, their end game, what they can accomplish, it's endless. See, that's the distinction when there's professionals shooting at goals. So I want to talk to you first by saying you got to dream big. Now, dreaming big is not goal setting, but you got to start here. And this has nothing to do with creating 2020. This has to do with creating the rest of your life. You must start dreaming, and you must start dreaming now, and you must start dreaming big. I encourage every single one of you guys to go, I don't care if you do it digitally or this, or write it, and just start writing everything that everywhere you want to go, everything you want to get, and everything you want to give in this lifetime. And it's a never-ending list. It should never end. I don't care if it's the craziest dream in the world. You write it down, you commit it to paper. Where do you want to go? What do you want to get? And what do you want to give? Now, this is not a conversation around dream building, but I gotta tell you guys, it's impossible to goal set effectively if you can't dream build first. You have to create what I call a live list. You mean a bucket list? No, I don't mean a bucket list. 12 years ago, I saw the movie Bucket List. I said, cute movie. What a terrible philosophy. A couple guys that get so old that they're terminally ill that now they want to do something with their life. Bad idea. I think you need to make that list now and go live it. Check mark, check mark, check mark, right? Not a bucket list, a live list. You've got to create your live list. There's 3 categories of dreams. Where do you want to go? What do you want to get? What do you want to give? Now, I could spend an hour on this one sentence alone. Most of us are programmed to dream small. And we're told, or we're programmed to think, that big dreams are selfish. And the bigger we dream, the more selfish we are. We start to say things like, you don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. Let me tell you why. Because when you were a child, you used to pick things up in the store, and your parents would say, you don't need that. What they were really saying, but they didn't want to say to you, is, we can't afford to keep buying you gifts. I promised myself when I was a kid, I would never say, when I had kids, that you don't need that. I would only say that you haven't earned that. So getting back to you, as you got older, you started telling yourself, well, I don't need that, and I don't need that, and I don't need that. And you know what? A bigger house is selfish, and a better car is selfish, and traveling the world, actually, most people are okay with traveling. It's having things that, you know, we have issues with. And we live in this lie, right? We try to live in this gray area. Let me tell you something. If you're going to play the game of you don't need this and you don't need that, here is reality, black and white. You technically don't need anything but food, water, shelter, and love. Those are the only 4 things you need. But I don't see a bunch of monks on here. I don't see a bunch of people that have denounced all material items, that live in a hut with just enough food and water and some love from the other monks. I don't see that here. I see a bunch of people that make excuses for their dream, saying, oh, I don't need that, therefore I'm not going to go after it. I'm not going to have a big dream, by saying, oh, I don't need that. That's an excuse. That's the gray area. It's not reality. If you don't need it, then operate in the black and white. Everybody denounce everything you have. You don't need a cell phone, but you have one. You don't have a computer, but you're on one. You sure as heck don't need earbuds, but we use them, right? We only need food, water, shelter, and love. So why do we have these other things? Because we want them. That's why. That's why. So why do we limit the things that we want? And I'll tell you why. It's a programming, the voice in your head of your parents from when you were small. Guys, you got to dream big. Where will you go? What will you get? And what will you give? And guys, I'll tell you, if today is A and the end of your dream is Z, all I can tell you guys is this: extend your Z, extend your Z, dream bigger, dream bigger, dream bigger, dream bigger, extend your Z, extend your Z. Let me tell you why. People are taught or meant to feel that a big dream is selfish. Now watch this. I will argue that if you limit your dream, if you reduce your Z, you're selfish. The smaller you dream, or you making a decision, a conscious decision to reduce your dream, I believe is a selfish act. Why? Let's look at a guy by the name of Elon Musk. His dream since he was a child was to build a place somewhere on Mars that human beings could exist. Now, could you imagine being 6 years old telling people that? Could you imagine being 16 years old telling people that? Can you imagine being 46 years old, he's around that age now, telling people that? This man has probably been called every name in the book. But had he reduced his dream, had he reduced his Z, here's what would have happened. Hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of people would not have a job right now. PayPal might not exist. We might not have solar vehicle or solar power as a major topic and focus that it is right now. And I can guarantee you this. We wouldn't have rockets that go to outer space, dropping off stuff at space stations and coming back down and landing. Have you ever seen one of Elon Musk's rockets go up and then come back? They come back. It looks so fake. It looks like it's a video playing backwards. Who the heck can figure out how to shoot a rocket to outer space, drop something off at a space station, and bring it back? Had he reduced his dream, how many people are affected? How many tens of thousands of people are affected? What's the ripple effect? You're like, well, he's Elon Musk and he's this and he's that. Let's talk about you. You underestimate your ripple effect. You underestimate how your dream can affect one other person, 10 other people, 100, 1,000, 20,000, 100,000. So I don't care if your dream is selfish. I don't care if your dream is, you know what, Nick? I want to be just insanely successful. I want to be so successful that I have a private jet. I can fly anywhere I want, and I can see anything I want and go anywhere I want. Okay, how are you going to do that? Oh, I'm going to have to create something or do something or build something. Bingo. Bingo. And that creating something, do something, or building something is going to create a ripple effect that's going to impact tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. Now, if your dream is simply, I want to start a charity in the neighborhood for veterans, great, go. But why limit it at your neighborhood? Extend it. Make it the city. Make it the state. Make it the country. Make the goal to have an awesome charity for veterans all across the country. Because if you fail that by half, you get the state, or maybe you get a few states. Again, I could go an hour on this one, and this is not even the topic of the day, but I'm just here to show you can't be effective. You can't have goal mastery unless you can dream big. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you guys to start making the list of all the things you want to do in this lifetime, everywhere you want to go, everything you want to get, everything you want to give. And I want you to keep that compiled in one place and continually add to it. Add imagery if you want. There's this thing called Google. You punch in what you want, you hit images, it's all right there. So you should have an image of everyone where you want to go, what you want to get, and where you want and what you want to give to. Okay, that's your live list. That's your whole lifetime. But in order to go to goals, we had to start with dreams. Let's move to goals. What is the difference between a dream versus a goal? There is a significant difference between a dream and a goal. For those of you guys that are on Facebook, I want you to know that I'm on Zoom, so I can't see you guys. I can't see your comments, but thank you for continuing to comment. For those of you guys that logged in late, please leave your name, where you're from. If you're watching the replay, put replay. If you have any questions on Facebook, put a question in there. I'll come back and I'll respond to it later. And what else? And if you get a really key nugget that triggers like, whoa, I didn't think about that, put that in the comments as well as a key takeaway for you so I can read those. So what's a dream versus a goal? What's the difference? Okay, a dream is something that is no deadline. It's your entire lifetime, right? It's a dream. A goal is a dream with a deadline. So what I did is I dreamed big, huge, and then I wrote them all down. One day. And then as I got closer into range, I would move that dream and make it a goal. You know what? I think I can do this 10 years from now. I think I can do this 5 years from now. I think I can do this 3 years from now. And I think I can do this 1 year from now. Today, we're here to talk about goals that are 1 year from now. How do you create real goals? Number one is they must be quantifiable. If you can't quantify it, it is not a goal. It's an idea. It's a wish. It's a habit. It's a thought. Those are all different. It's not all of those things. Let me give you an example. I'm going to get in shape. That's a wish. That's not quantifiable. Round is a shape. So if you get round this year, did you get in shape? There's no way to quantify in shape. Or I'm going to work out this year. That's not a goal. That's a habit. You get into amazing shape or you lose 20 pounds by working out. Working out is not the goal. Working out is the habit. Okay? So it must be quantifiable and it must have a deadline. Without a deadline and without quantification, it's not a goal. If you guys want like some bonus hacks, here's a bonus hack. If you write the strategy to the goal, you're twice as likely to get it done. If you give it to an accountability partner, it goes up again. If you check in once a week with accountability, it goes up again. Guys, and I forgot to say this before I dove into this particular slide. There are thousands, tens of thousands of hours worth of work on the science of goal achievement. The science of goal achievement. Not the manifestation, the hope, the wish, the this, the that. This isn't foo-foo. This isn't like, this isn't, rubbing crystals together here, people. This is quantifiable. Goal achievement is a science. There are scientists that study goal achievement. Go read some of the clinicals. They're mind-boggling. If you take it out of your mind and write it down, step 1. Make it quantifiable, step 2. Give it a deadline, step 3. Guess what else? It can't be too hard and it can't be too easy. Oh, there's another one. If it's too hard, you won't start. If it's too easy, you won't try. So there's a range. Write a strategy, it doubles. Give it to a accountability partner, it goes up again, the likelihood of achieving it. Check in every week, it goes up again. Like I said, I got a day and a half worth of information here and 30 minutes to give it now left. Must be quantifiable, must have a deadline. So for the sake of easy answers, what is the deadline for the goals for the topic of this conversation? It's December 31st, 2020. Because we're talking about creating 2020. So you got a 1-year deadline. Well, the goals that we're going to create are going to be quantifiable, and the deadline is 2020. I'm going to lose 20 pounds by April 1st. Does it have a deadline? Yes. Is it quantifiable? Yes. I'm going to make more money next year. Not quantifiable. Oh, look, there's a nickel on the ground. You made more money. Congratulations. Not quantifiable. Quantifiable. I'm going to make $200,000 this year. Is it quantifiable? Yes, it's $200,000. Is it deadline? Yes, this year. Okay. Those are a couple tips around the idea of real goals. And again, I challenge you, for those of you guys that really want to dive into this, go look at the clinicals of scientists on the science of goal achievement. Let's continue. Now, here's the process that I've ran since 2003. Here's something that's really important to me. And I apologize if I offend anybody. I apologize if I offend any of you watching this. I'm not a coach. And I'm not a person that's talking about shit I didn't do. So you can pay me $500 for a coaching fee or some shit like that. It's not what I do. I'm not a speaker, not a coach. I'm not a fan of them. Because the majority of them, not all of them, the majority of them are talking about stuff they've never done. They're talking about other people's processes. They're talking about other people's systems. And they're charging the people to coach them on other people's processes. In my mind, most of them, not all of them, complete garbage. What I am is a seasoned entrepreneur that has become successful through his practices that I've learned and adapted. And I share them back with the people that I work with, AKA I mentor them. Okay. So that being said, this is not something I read in a book. This is my own practices. First thing you do is you buy a journal. This is last year's journal. This is 2000, I guess this year's journal. This is 2019's journal. I got it in Iceland. It spoke to me. It's wooden, it's carved. I dig it. I recommend that you go somewhere where there's a bunch of journals and you just kind of pick the one that kind of speaks to you. And if that sounds cheesy and you're like, speaks to me, I'm a tough guy. What the hell does that mean? You know what I'm talking about. When you went and pick out a baseball glove when you're a kid, you pick out the one that spoke to you. When you pick out a bike, like you pick out the bike that spoke to you. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Just I'm talking about journals. You know what I'm talking about. Pick the one that speaks to you. Get that one because you're going to be married to this thing for a year. I happened to be walking by. This was 10 minutes ago. I was looking for something I wanted to use today. I'll show you in a second. And I ran across this. This is my journal from 10 years ago, 2010. And the first thing I recommend you do before you start setting goals in your new journal is you're going to recap the following year. So in this case, you're going to buy a journal, you're going to recap 2019, and that will be the first journal entry inside it. And then you're going to write a journal entry. The next one will be about what 2020 is going to look like for you. So I want to read this to you because this was fascinating to me. This is exactly 10 years ago, 1/1/2010. Now I name my years. 2010 was called the defining year. 2010, the defining year. Let me read this to you. And it's wild how I didn't plan to do this. I was walking by looking for this journal, and for whatever reason, this one was 5 feet away from it. So here's my first entry. Every year, I have themes to describe how I want the year to look. Some have validity and accuracy as the year went on, some did not. In 2010, I will have a defining year. My career, my leadership, my skills, my finances, my partnerships, and my relationship will all come to a head. How will I respond? How will I react? How will it all look? How does the story end? These are all questions I do not need to ask. I already know the answers. I see it clearly. I see it in its entirety. I live at cause. Just watch. 10 years ago, that was what I wrote. We were 1 month from bankrupt as a company. All the money I'd made had gone back into the company, so I was done. And I had made this drastic decision to resign as the chief sales officer of my company and become a sales rep for it. And that became a catalytic event to create billions of dollars in sales. And that was 10 years ago, January 1st, 2010. So guys, write this stuff down. I have a journal for every year for the last 16 years. And my goal is to have one every year until I die. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them to my kids. And my kids are going to learn of 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of their father or their grandfather or their great-grandfather. What better gift could you leave behind than all of your thoughts and the way you processed for decades? I would love to know about 1944, 43, 42, when my two grandfathers were both in World War II. I would love to know what they were feeling, what was in their heart, what were their fears. Like, holy cow, how crazy would that be? How many of you guys would love, actually, this is the way I think I could get you to journal. How many of you who have lost a parent or a grandparent would love to have known bits and pieces of their thoughts year in and year out for decades of their life? That's why you should do it for your kids or your grandkids. Okay, let's get back on track here. Back to the goal storm. So buy a journal. Here's how 2019 went. Here's how 2020 is going to go. Our goal is to get 50 to 100 goals. I go upwards of about 125. These goals do not have to be easy, but they don't have to be hard. I know that sounds weird. Let me give you an example. This year, I'm going to buy a pair of tennis shoes. No, that's not a goal. I'm sorry. Don't put that down there. It's too basic. That's not a goal. Now, ladies on here, if you're like, this year, I'm going to buy my first pair of red bottoms. Like, I'm getting my first pair of big girl shoes. That's a goal. Put that on there, right? But here's what I mean by it doesn't have to be hard. This year, I'm finally going to go to, Marie's Point. I'm making this up. Marie's Point, the highest point in your city, where you hike up there and it's got the best sunset view. It's on a cliff and you've never been there in your own city. I bet you right now there's 3, 4, 5 amazing, unbelievable, epic places in your own city that you've never been. Go check those things off. You should make a goal to check those things off this year. Now, you can create buckets, okay? Buckets will help you set these goals. Family, travel, events, experiences, income, growth, spiritual, physical goals, purchases, gifts. These can be different buckets, which will trigger your mind to start writing the goals. So I'll give you guys a couple examples. By the way, this is called a goal storm. A goal storm is the same as a brainstorm. If it pops in your head, you just keep asking yourself the question, what do I want to do this year? What am I going to do this year with my family? What am I going to do this year with experiences? What experiences am I going to go to this year? What are my physical goals this year? You keep saying this language. What do I want to purchase this year? What gift do I want to give this year? What type of spiritual growth do I want to have this year? And it will trigger you to start writing. Just like a brainstorm, you don't stop it from coming out. You write it down, okay? So here are my actual categories for 2019. Family, growth, business, financial, travel, experiences. Those two are separate for me. Why? So travel, for example, I went to Dubai. Experiences, hot air balloon ride. I can hot air balloon ride it maybe in my own city. I may not have to travel for that, okay? So there's a difference between travel and experiences for me. I have a bucket called art. So writing and musical or whatever, things that are personal to me. Brand building, physical. What are my physical goals? philanthropy, miscellaneous, and then I have spiritual, right? So these are all buckets for me. You can have your whatever buckets you want. You can change the buckets. It doesn't matter. However, sorry, my cover ripped off. This is what it looks like. My goal storm looks like this. That's one page. That's the second page. There's about 125 goals inside of this, and they're all inside the buckets. Now, what do? I actually review these goals, not every day, but about once a week. About once a week, I open it up, and I just scan. I'm like, oh, I did that one. Check. Man, I need to do that one. I need to do that one. I need to do that one. I've never accomplished all of the goals. Some of you guys have a high school mentality. That's not your fault. That's how we were all trained. We were all trained that 59 out of 100 right, 59 out of 100 right, 59 out of 100 right, you're a failure. In goals, 59 out of 100 right, you're a genius. You're outstanding. You're out of this world. I accomplish about 60% of my goals each year. Oh, I'm failing. I'm a D minus, almost a failure. You know what I do is I make the goals hard, stretch me, because if I can accomplish them, that means I'm getting better and better and better each and every year. So those are buckets. Those are goals. They must be quantifiable, and they must have a deadline. The deadline is 2020. Don't worry about it if you don't achieve them. You're not failing, but you should worry about it if you won't write them. And you should worry about it if you won't look at it once a week, because looking at it once a week will trigger you to go do it. I'll give an example of just some that maybe are not that hard. So they're just ones that they're things I want to do, but they're not hard to do, such as, oh, here we go. I want to do spoken word poetry. That's insanely scary for me. I can stand in front of a crowd of 20,000 people. I can speak to them for hours, and I have, and set that room on fire. And I won't blink an eye, and I won't hesitate, and won't raise my pulse rate one notch. But the idea of going and taking something I've written, like poetry, and standing in front of a crowd of 7 people with angry faces in a dark room, that freaks me out, right? So is that a hard goal? No. But is it something that I want to do so I can say I did it and check it off? Absolutely. By the way, for those of you guys that want to know how to become a great speaker, go do karaoke. You want to become a better speaker? Unless you can sing, that doesn't count. You want to become a better speaker? Go do karaoke sober. Yeah. You want to become a better speaker? Go do karaoke sober, live band. You ever done live band karaoke? That shit's scary. Oh, and you're good with that? Okay, then go do spoken word. So I've done all of those things. So me going and do spoken word, it makes me a better speaker in my career, because I can just walk in front of crowds. I'm like, dude, this is nothing. And by the way, there's one level past spoken word, in my opinion. It's called go speak to children. Go speak to high school kids. You really want to get good at speaking? Go speak to high school kids. That's an angry crowd right there. Okay, they're unforgiving. Let's continue. Let me do a time check. All right, we're actually doing pretty good. Share my screen. Here we go. All right. And then as you're going throughout your year, you're going to add new goals. You're going to check off ones you accomplish, and you're going to add new goals as they pop up in your mind. And then will the goals change throughout the year? Yes, of course, absolutely. Now, here is the magic for me of my goal process. There's a lot more to this. I'm only giving you pieces. I take those 100 goals, for you it might be 50, and I narrow it down to the top 10-ish. Might be 9, might be 12. There's no rules to this, guys. Okay, there's no rules. You do what feels good for you. So what I do is I ask myself, which 10 goals are the most important goals for my entire year? That if I get nothing else right, if I get these 10 right, I'm gonna have a happy year. And I take these 10 and I put them into order. Most important to number 10, okay? So, for example, I'm gonna give you guys some of mine. My top 10, actually, let me finish this. Now, what you'll notice is the Pareto principle at play. Pareto principle says 80% of the results are brought by 20% of the people. what you're going to find out is 80% of your results in your year are going to come from 20% of the goals. So that's why we're narrowing it down. Use the Pareto principle to narrow it down. And then you also can start bundling some of them together. For example, if you want to travel 3 places, that's not 3 different goals. You just put travel to my top 3 destinations. Or you might put travel to Hawaii, Greece, and Italy. And that's just 1 goal as opposed to 3 goals, okay? And then lastly, create goal cards. We'll come back to that in a second. Okay, here's a bit of my top 10. My number 1 goal for 2019 is to develop Gia's best gift. Her best gift we're finding is gymnastics, reading, rock climbing. This chick rock climbs like a 22-year-old male. Like, it's unbelievable. I took her today, and she went up this crazy ninja lounge wall that adults do. And the guy looked at me and goes, I've never seen a 10-year-old boy do this, let alone a 6-year-old girl. So, hey, who knows? Maybe she'll become an awesome rock climber. And develop a great relationship with Nicholas. Now, that is very important to me because of the timing of my life. Nicholas was, 1 year old when I separated with my ex-wife. He only spoke Spanish for the first 2 years of his life. So it was difficult to get that relationship going. So that's my number 1 goal. Number 2 was earn X. Number 3, achieve my best body ever challenge. Number 4, so you get the idea. When you get towards the bottom, we'll skip around to some other ones. Number 10, execute my growth plan. What does that mean? I have a personal growth and personal development plan that has multiple sub-bullet points. Read X amount of books, attend X amount of seminars, meet with X amount of mentors. That whole goal, that's bundling, execute my growth plan, that's 1 goal. So you get the idea. I've got contribution-based goals in here. I've got fitness goals. 4 new travel destinations and 4 new wow experiences. 4 new wow experiences I've never done before. That's just 1 goal. For some people, that's 8 goals. Travel to 4 places, 4 unbelievable experiences. To me, 1 goal, and it's in my top 10, okay? So what's this? This is a goal card. Why do you need goal cards? I'm going to show you the back side of the goal card because the front side is personal to me. So pretend this is my top 10 goals here, okay? I print my top 10 and I put them everywhere. Full stop. I print my top 10 and I put them everywhere. Everywhere, 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 everywhere. Screenshot to my phone. It's next to my bed, in my closet, in my shower. Yeah, in my shower. Right to the glass. In my journal. In my backpack. I have a goal card. Why? Ooh, how deep can I go on this? Take a guess how much advertisers in America spend. I'm going to try to pull this up while you guys are guessing. Type it in the comments. Take a guess how much advertisers spend each year in America to get the attention of your subconscious mind. Type a number in there. Now, if you know this because I've trained you before or mentored you before, don't be the spoiler. Nobody likes the spoiler. Okay? Take a guess how much advertisers spend in America to get to your subconscious mind. I'm pulling up the slide right now because I don't want to misquote. I want to get the exact number. It is, okay, I did have the right number. Who's got a guess? Is it millions? Is it millions? Is it billions? Is it 10 billion, 20 billion? 30? It's $220 billion. That's 2016. It's 2019 now. It's probably over 300. It's 2018. My fault. 2018, $220 billion advertisers spent in America to speak to your unconscious mind. And you won't make some goal cards to speak to your unconscious mind? Your unconscious mind, your subconscious, is the most valuable thing in the world to advertisers. It's not valuable to you. I want these things everywhere because even if I'm not reading them, it's speaking to my subconscious. I know there's a goal card there and I know what's on the card. Therefore, when I walk by it and I see it just out of the corner of my eye, I start thinking of my top 10 goals. Hello. I could go a half hour on this one, but I gotta keep it flowing. Gotta keep it flowing. Okay. So those are goal cards. I can't ask you to do any of this stuff. You got to do it. I can't tell you to make your dream list. Your live list and dream big and write them all. I can't have you do it. You got to do it. I can't tell you to buy a journal or make you do it. You got to do it. I can't make you write down the year. I can't make you write down the buckets. Can't make you write down the goals. I can't make you narrow it to top 10. And I can't make you do this. By the way, the back of this is my top habits and my top values. That's another webinar in itself for several hours. So I remember the first time I trained goal setting, I was probably 22. So 18 years ago, maybe 23. And I came up with a quote on the fly that I used for a decade, and now it eludes me. So give me a second. Most people are too lazy to do the things that are put in place to motivate them on the daily basis. Are you? That's the quote. You want to type that? Somebody type that. What does that mean? People, no, how do you stay so motivated? How do you stay so motivated? How do you stay so motivated? It's a system. It's a system. It's not effing magic. It's a system. This is a system. This is a system. It's not magic. How do you stay motivated? I have my dream list, and I have images attached to the dream list, and those images can play on my cell phone on an Apple TV anytime I want to push play. On my computer, I have a goal list. I have a 10-year goal list. I have a 1-year goal list. I have a top 10 goal list. I review them. I look at them. I have goal cards. What else? I mean, is there something else that I can do? Most people are too lazy to do the things that are put in place to motivate them on a daily basis. Are you? Meaning, I'm telling you, I can tell you exactly what I do. And most people are too lazy to do that. They're too lazy to do the things that are put in place to motivate on a daily basis. Are you? I can't answer that question. Only you can answer that question. Okay, so I want to share. What happens if I share? Okay, I think, Rod, are you still on with me? Can you see the slide, narrow to top 10?
Sorry, repeat.
Can you see my slide up? Is my slide up?
You got
I
it.
have a slide. Is there a slide up? Can somebody in the chat box just let me know if you can see my slides right now?
Yes, we can see your slides.
That's all the questions. Thank you. Okay, so let's move forward. Now, the next step, and I'm almost done, is each of your top 10 goals needs a strategy. There's a formula. It's called goal, strategy, action, don't quit, repeat. Goal, strategy, action, don't quit, repeat. Goal, strategy, action, don't quit. Change strategy, action, don't quit. Change strategy, action, don't quit. So each of these goals, each of these top 10 needs a strategy. So once you write the top 10, guys, I'm giving you science right now. This isn't unicorns flying through the sky, and they're throwing out coins. You run around with a wheelbarrow and catch them. This isn't what this is. This is science. Here's how this works. A person who will write the strategy to a goal they've already written, there is a 2x chance that they will accomplish that goal. It doubles just by writing the strategy. So what does that mean? So you write the goal of your top 10, and then you say, how the hell am I going to do this? And you start writing. And you keep asking yourself, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And you write down everything it's going to take. That's the strategy. And then what I would do is I would confer with somebody who's an expert on that goal. You know what? I want to lose 25 pounds by June 1st. How? Oh shit, I got to start eating right. I got to start working out. I got to drink more water. What else do I do? Maybe I should call a personal trainer. How do I do this? Right? So then you write down the strategy. So I would write the goal, write the strategy, confer with an expert, and then continue to make sure that strategy is correct. Okay. And then you guys will see that as you're writing on the strategy, that you have 2 different goals that will start to align I call them micro goals. We don't need to go on that right now because of time. So with that, I've got a few minutes. I can't believe I finished this 9 minutes early. I'm going to open this up to, I'll try to maybe look at the Facebook on my phone. Those of you guys who are in the chat box of Zoom, go ahead. Now's your chance to fire a question, and I will answer the question. I don't know how to pull up my own live. Oh, there it is. I will answer the question now. If you have a question, throw it into the comments section now. Will this be available for replay? Yes, it might not be immediately. Oh, it's a Facebook Live. So yes, if you go to Facebook, my personal Facebook profile, it's on there. Go ahead and fire any questions you guys may have. While that's happening, I'll do a quick recap, and that way you can get your questions out of your brain into the comments. Okay, so what's the recap? First of all, guys, you need to go start dreaming. What I want, a live list, everything I want to do in this lifetime, okay? Then you start looking at timelines going 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 1 year. For the case of 2020, it's 1 year. Go buy a journal. You're then going to do a goal storm, put different sub buckets. Goals will start to pop into those sub buckets. You're then going to narrow it to a top 10. Ask yourself which goals are the most important goals for the year. They'll start to develop a top 5 or 10. Put those in order, most important, and then give a strategy to each of those goals. That's a quick recap of everything we talked about. Micro goals might turn out differently. Do you work your top 10 prior to going to sleep or waking up in the AM? Do you work on? Okay, so this is a good question. It says, do I work on my top 10 goals? My top 10 goals are kind of like the tip of the arrow for every action I take in a day, right? So if one of your top 10 has to do with health and fitness, you should probably be conscious of your health and fitness every day. If one of your top 10 has to do with your family, you should probably be conscious of your family every day that you can be. If it has to do with making money, right? So they're just kind of like they're the tip of the arrow, and it really leads all of your behavior. And on here, you see habits. This is the real answer. You see my top 10 habits, 5 personal, 5 business. What I do is I create daily habits, and those daily habits link to the achievement of those goals. My belief and my superpower is not goal setting. My superpower is habits. My belief is the execution of the correct daily habits will lend itself to the accomplishments or achievements of the goals that you have. Okay, so the goals that you're trying to accomplish a year from now are going to be achieved in day-to-day activities. Those day-to-day activities are your habits. Okay, over to Facebook. What do you do if you know you aren't going to hit the goal when you get close to the due date? It's a great question. I don't achieve half my goals, right? We've talked about that. Or, for example, I might say, I want to make $5 million this year, and I only get 50% of the way there. Am I a failure? Because I made $2.5 million? School would say I'm a failure. I would say I got halfway to 5 million, right? So you have to give yourself credit and reward yourself for a portion of the accomplishments. Some goals don't work like that, but if your goal is to lose 30 pounds and you get to 28, sister, you didn't fail. You kicked ass. Like, you freaking crushed it, right? So, but halfway through the year, what I call halftime adjustments. In every football game, the coaches go in and they make adjustments at halftime. I do the same thing to my goals halfway through. Okay, what daily habits do you track? It doesn't matter the daily habits I track, Hector, because my goals are drastically different than your goals. So your habits must link to your goals. But the habits have to do with what actions must you take to achieve your biggest 10 goals. Keep it coming. Who's got any other questions out there? What is the difference between a vision and a goal? I think we're caught up in semantics with that. But a vision, you can have a vision of your goals, meaning I visualize my goals. Here you go. Here's your answer. I visualize the achievement of my goals every day. I visualize the achievement of my goals every day. I visualize the achievement of my goals every day. I'm going to say it again because it's also part of my Art of Desire formula. Remember I said the number one thing for me is Art of Desire? Dreaming and goal setting is one of them. Habits is another. All of this is Art of Desire. Okay, a couple more questions. Okay, any more questions here? How important is it to have your significant other on board with your goals? Rebecca said, how significant is it to have how important is it to have your significant other on board with your goals? It's extremely significant. It's extremely significant, right? Because if not, you're going to create a divided house. If you have a significant other, you two must do this together, okay? So I want to grab these two really quick because they always have important stuff to say. So say it. Louder. Say it aloud.
Dream big.
Say dream big. Say it. Say dream big. Say it loud. Okay. You say.
Go get them goals.
Go make those goals happen.
Go make those goals happen.
Say you can do it. Say you can do it.
You can do it.
Loud.
I believe in you.
Say I believe in you.
I believe in you.
Give him a high five. So guys, everything I do for these two little ones right here. And I just want to share with you guys that if you can't create your goals for you, do it for your kids. You know, these guys have a completely different world and life and decades ahead of them that it will be different than the way I grew up because of my commitment to dream building and goal setting. And if you can't motivate yourself to do it for you, do it for your significant other, do it for your kids, do it for your grandkids. It's never too late. Get started now. And by the way, never, ever, 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 ever take a day for granted. Ever. Just 2 hours before we started this webinar, I look back and this guy's got tears streaming down his face in the car and he can't talk. And I realize that he's choking. And I pull the car over at 100 miles per hour in a gas station. And I yank him out of his car seat. I tip him upside down. I start hitting his back and he spits it out. And it was a piece of candy that he had choked on. You can never take a day for granted, okay? And it was scary. Like I'm just reliving right now is making my hands shake just talking about it again. And it was scary. Like he was crying, I was crying, Gia was scared. You never know. You never know. Don't take a day for granted. Live every day full out. Give everything that you got, right? And if you can't do it for you, do it for your children. And for those of you guys that are the judgy ones going, I can't believe you let a little kid have a piece of candy in the backseat. Yeah, I know. I fucked up. I'm sorry. But I told you the story so that you can learn from it that, man, don't let any day go for granted. And do something big with your life. If you can't do it for you, do it for your kids.
I believe in you. You can do it.
Thank you guys so much for the hour of your time. I hope this was worth it. I hope you got some value. Do me a favor, go to the Facebook page, share the video. There's so much garbage out there in the news feeds. If you got value from this, share it. Tag some people to it if you think they need to watch it. And most importantly for me is tell me what you got out of it. Say the number one thing I learned today is, so I can go find out what that is. Guys, have a kick-ass 2020. Closing thought. This ain't a new year. This is a new decade. And in 1 year, you can change your life. And in 10 years, you can change your family tree. In 10 years, you can change your family tree. In 10 years, you can change your family tree. Have a great New Year's, everybody.